on there. Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner? Well, good evening. TGIF, thank God it's Friday. And we're back again. Guess who's coming to dinner? We've got a special dinner guest this evening. He's a very dear friend. I'd like to think he's a dear friend. He's been holding up our community and stepping out and speaking on behalf of us for years, as far as president of the Louisville chapter of the NAACP. Would be yours truly, none other than Mr. Raoul Cunningham.
How you doing, ma'am?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
Well, I'm holding on, Raoul. You know, I'm watching this crazy news and all this. What do you think about what's going on in the country? What do you think?
It's troubling.
Ooh, to say the least.
And we've got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
The right is trying to destroy our democracy, and we have got to be able to withstand the challenges, not only politically,
right,
health-wise.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of work to do to get our community to take or get the vaccinations.
Right. I've had my shot.
I had
my first one.
I had my first one. And noticed, I went to Lexington.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Why'd you go to Lexington?
Because no one responded to my many requests here. I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
Lexington did, University of Kentucky did, and so I went.
Okay.
And got it. But notice the numbers difference from identifiable African Americans who were not there. So we've got a lot of work to do.
Okay. All right. So we need more folks showing up and letting the rest of the community know that we took that leap of faith.
That's right. We've got to.
Because I went to 18th and Broadway. I went to the Y.
Okay.
And I saw a fairly decent turnout. I didn't see anybody that I knew, except I think Miss Margie. But I didn't really see anybody that I knew. But I thought it was a very good use of their facility. Number one.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
You know, go on.
And we need to get the word to our community that they should take and get the vaccinations.
Do you think it's more seniors that in our community that are leery than the younger ones? I think it's more seniors because they know about Tuskegee and all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
But we've got to reach them.
Okay.
And we've got to reason with them.
Right. Okay, for those that may be listening to us tonight, tell me what you would say to them. Tell them what, how we can reason with them to get them to know how important this is.
It is important because you can see the number of deaths that are occurring in our community.
Right.
Yeah. You just got to look at the obituary pages in the local newspaper.
Right.
It's grown tremendously. from
It's what,
where it,
3-4 pages long, ain't it?
that's right, from where it was. So the virus is serious.
Yes, it is.
Therefore, you've got to respond to the only precautionary measures that we have. We've got to mask up, continue to mask up. We've got to take the vaccination and continue social distancing.
Absolutely.
That's the only way we're going to survive.
Right.
Because
Because
the virus,
if you don't take the vaccine, you've got two choices. You don't want to catch it and you don't want to die. So if you take the vaccination, your chance of dying from COVID are less than anything else.
that's correct. That's correct. And it has had an impact on our community. I'm speaking of the African American community,
Right.
more than it has on other communities in our city and nation. Therefore, we've got to respond positively.
Right.
And if you are leery, you need to check with your physician.
Right.
Go to the health centers and get the information correctly.
Yeah. Well, that's what they need to do. I mean, the best person to talk to about it is your doctor.
Yes. Yes.
You talk to your doctor because the doctor gives us all kind of medicine. Some we need, some we don't need.
Yeah.
So, but you need to at least, but we usually, on a percentage basis, we usually follow our doctor's directions.
We do. We do. And we've got to continue that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the two choices to me are you follow your doctor or you follow Donald Trump.
Oh, Lord, please.
Yeah.
That's to us, it's an obvious choice who you would follow.
Yes.
You know, but some people, like I said, it's a choice. It's a life and death choice.
It
Do
is.
you want to live or do you want to die?
That's it.
Because your chances of catching COVID are high in actuality. You know, especially when you say, "Well, I'm just gonna run over to Mary's house and we just gonna have a little lunch and then her kids gonna come in with their friends or something." Hey,
You don't know.
you don't know. You can't put yourself in a position. You have to be proactive in order to protect yourself.
That's it.
At
That's
the end of my show, I tell them, I say, mask up. Come on now. You know, call them on the phone. We can FaceTime on the phone. You don't have to see them, touch them. Just know that everybody's all right. Check on folks.
That's it.
This is a time and period of time that we check on folks. I had a friend that I couldn't reach for almost a month. I sent an APB out. He had people that rented from him. I said, I told somebody, go down there and check and see if he's been by to collect the rent. You know, so finally he got the word through his children or whatever and called me. I said, you can't not call people back after long periods of time because of what's going on.
That's it. We need to we live in different areas rather than having been concentrated like we used to be.
Right.
And we've got to still care for one another.
Absolutely.
And we've got to check on one another.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I told him, I said, well, I put an APB out on you. I said, and I ain't mad. And if you mad about it, I don't care. Because I just want to make sure you were all right.
Yeah.
So tell me, Raoul, what's going on with the NAACP right now? What kind of, I know you're probably in a working pattern, but in a holding pattern, but exactly where are you?
We have just finished the elections.
Oh, okay.
Now we are monitoring and following the actions of the General Assembly.
Okay.
There are some bills in there that
Okay.
we're concerned about.
Okay.
On last Monday, we passed a resolution concerning Senate Bill 1, Senate Bill 2, House Bill 1, House Bill 2, House Bill 3, and House Bill 5.
Okay.
All of these measures have been passed by both the Senate and the House.
Okay.
They have all been vetoed by the governor. And it is expected that with the supermajority of Republicans in both houses, that they may override the veto.
Oh, okay.
Now, the bills, especially those that affect voting,
Okay.
if you recall, in the primary and the general election last year, the governor and the secretary of state, a Democrat and a Republican,
Right.
came together and issued emergency regulations
Right.
that included early voting,
Mm-hmm.
mail-in voting.
Mm-hmm.
These two of these bills will prevent that from happening in the future,
Okay.
which comes down basically to voter suppression.
Right.
We had unprecedented number of people who voted in the primary and the general election.
Right.
Now they want to come back and take us back to where we were years ago.
Right.
So therefore, we're encouraging the that the legislature not override the governor's veto.
Okay.
In the area of education, in Louisville and Jefferson County, we need to watch and look out for the enactment,
Mm-hmm.
of the new student assignment plan.
Okay. So that's where the students can now maybe go to school in their neighborhood. Is that what that has
Yes,
to do with? Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Now, one thing we know is with what they're now calling dual resides, that will resegregate the schools.
What's a dual reside? I mean,
That
I have an
means,
idea.
okay, that persons in the Black community, Black parents and students,
Mm-hmm.
will have a choice to stay in their local schools that are close to their homes
Right.
or go to schools that may be a distance. They're going to give African American parents, as well as others, a choice.
Right.
And they're calling it choice. And we know that most people would prefer to stay. That means that the schools will probably become resegregated. And they will only not be resegregated because of race, but they will be resegregated by economic conditions or poverty.
Hmm.
Now, we haven't taken a position yet. We're still looking at one, they have not passed or given us a final plan.
Right.
We want to see the final plan before we take a position.
Okay.
It's going to be a major issue because whatever is decided it will affect our children for years to come.
Right.
So, along the areas of police accountability,
Okay.
we pushed for the enactment of the Civilian Police Review Board.
Okay.
That has been finalized. We are waiting on the mayor to appoint, with the consent of the city council, those persons who will serve on the Citizen Review Board. They will elect or select the person to head it. And then let's hope that that the legislature will grant the city of Louisville the right to give subpoena, or the legislature will give Louisville the right to initiate subpoena power.
Okay. All right.
Because that's crucial.
Okay.
We have a new police chief.
Yes. Go ahead on. You touching all the topics.
Well, that's what we're involved in.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. I hear you.
You got to. The NAACP, we're now drafting a letter to the mayor. We were not, what's the word I'm looking for? We disagree with the way the chief was selected.
So do I.
They had promised that it would be an open process.
Right.
It was not. They met, they selected, and the community had no input. We couldn't say yay or nay.
Right.
Before it was announced. That's not open process.
No.
Now, I don't want to get in. I don't know. We didn't have an option. Therefore, the new police chief has been chosen.
Sworn in.
She's there.
She's there, yeah.
Although we may disagree with the way she was selected, we don't have a choice now but to try to effect the changes that the consultants recommended.
Right. Okay. Will you be able to get a copy of the
report?
The report, right?
Yes, we're gonna get a copy of it and look and analyze it.
Okay. Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Those are the major. When you ask, what are we doing?
Right.
That's it, primarily. We are getting ready for our scholarship season.
Okay.
I became president in 2005.
Okay.
And since that time, we have awarded more than $400,000 in scholarship.
Oh, wonderful.
In July of this year, we will award, we're estimating around $40,000 or more in scholarships.
Okay.
We're getting ready for that, and we'll be posting it on our website, the applications.
Okay.
And we are
students can go and find out what the criteria is.
Yes, all that is on the criteria, the applications itself, and the time periods that they have to be submitted.
Okay.
So that those plus we are looking at, as we discussed earlier, COVID, and we are looking to make sure that the African American community is aware and to encourage them to get the vaccinations.
Right.
So those are major areas uh, that we will be involved in
Okay.
over the next several months.
I have just one maybe suggestion for you when you say, you want to make sure that to reach out so people know about getting COVID.
Yes.
Um, you may have already thought about it, but I just thought about maybe some PSAs from, like you said, those familiar faces that could be made and ran on all the local network television stations
And radio stations.
and
Yes.
radio stations. Right.
Yes. I agree.
Okay.
And we're going to have to try to get them on as public service announcements.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'll make a call on the behalf of that.
Okay, great. Great.
I'm on Wave Three's editorial board.
Okay, great.
So I'll call because I see what you're saying. If you see faces, familiar faces that you know, and maybe people that have even gotten the shot, maybe that's not a public figure,
Yeah,
but somebody that that's got a food truck that's already got their
that's it.
shots. You mean just the more the merrier,
That's
actually.
it. That's it.
Okay.
And because this is not, should not be what some people would call top to bottom.
Right.
It's got to be everyone.
Right. It's across the board.
That's it. That's it.
Right. Okay. Wow. So, let's talk about some of the programs. I had, my namesake on last week, Miss Janice Carter.
Mm-hmm.
We laugh at the fact that I tell people, I said, no, I'm not the past president of the NAACP.
Yes, I
And
know.
she says, no, I'm not the singer. So she was on last week and she was talking about all the different programs that the NAACP has. And I don't know if people know about all the different initiatives and programs where you are doing work within the community, because I know that the NAACP is always working.
Yeah.
You as president, you do a lot with a lot of legislative things that you've mentioned, and to make sure about how we are treated within the confines of the law.
Mm-hmm.
That our voice is heard and our civil liberties are respected. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But there are other programs that you have, and I want to talk about those programs and how, and I know that there a lot of the way that they are functioning is through volunteers. And so I want to talk about your programs and how we can boost volunteerism, to help the NAACP. I mean, I know we do it for a whole lot of other organizations, but how can we help you?
Well, first of all, the NAACP, we have no paid staff in Louisville.
Okay.
We are, including me, we're all volunteers.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
We meet monthly.
Okay.
Right now, all in-person meetings of the NAACP are suspended.
Right.
So we're meeting virtually.
Right.
Even I serve on our national board of directors. We will be meeting next month virtually.
Okay.
So there are just no meetings. Now
Right.
we do have national staff, but we have no staff here.
Wow, that means you got a pretty heavy workload, don't you?
Yes, but our volunteers do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything all the work that we did for the election was done by volunteers.
And the election here for Louisville, Raoul, the turnout was exceptional. I mean, even under the circumstances, turnout was exceptional in
Yes.
Louisville.
And the African American turnout, although we were a little bit we had hoped that it would be more.
Okay.
The African American turnout was roughly 53%.
Okay. Not bad.
It was more than it has been.
Or even has ever been, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But that we don't want to break our arm patting ourselves on the back.
Okay. I got you.
Because it's still not what it should be.
Okay.
Now, of those that did turn out, it was no question that they knew who to vote for.
Okay.
Now, we're nonpartisan.
Right.
The turnout was that Joe Biden got 97% of the vote.
Okay.
Amy McGrath got 97% of the vote.
Okay.
Now, when my friends across the nation call and tell me that Georgia did what we couldn't do, we appreciate it.
Right.
But when we look at McConnell's voting record, he's been in he has never gotten above an F on the NAACP's legislative voting card report card.
Right.
Okay. So that's one of the programs we will continue to work on.
Right. But Georgia has more blacks per capita than Louisville does. I mean, than Kentucky does. Period.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Our numbers aren't what their numbers are.
Oh no, they're not.
Okay.
But the Louisville branch sent $3,000 down to Georgia.
Okay.
To help with voter registration and voter turnout.
Okay.
So, other programs we have. First of all, do you have any questions about specific programs?
One that I'm interested in, and I guess it has to do with the voting, is the ex-felons.
Okay.
Getting their rights back.
We have, since 2007, we have been one of the lead organizations in trying to get felony voting rights restored.
Right.
Going back to the days when Jesse Crenshaw of Lexington introduced the felony restoration bills.
Okay.
And after he left, Darrell Owens, your across the street neighbor,
my neighbor, yes,
took up the mantle and introduced the legislation in the General Assembly.
Right.
In December of last year, Governor Beshear issued a blanket pardon where more than 100,000 got the right to vote. But
whoa, okay,
that is That is by executive order.
Order, right.
Now, if you recall, his father, when he was governor, issued pardons that allowed felons to vote. What happened? Governor Bevin came
Bevin.
in and annihilated that
Right,
and
right,
rescinded it.
right.
So therefore, we still need it to be a constitutional amendment.
Okay,
So governors cannot enact it, the next one rescind it.
right.
So we still need the constitutional amendment. And we're
Okay,
still working on that.
okay,
League of Women Voters issued us a report yesterday
okay.
giving an update on the number of people affected and saying that Kentucky still has one of the highest number of disenfranchised voters because of their felony conviction.
Right.
And Governor Beshear's executive order did not include those convicted of a federal crime. So they still can't vote.
Okay.
He didn't have
Okay.
the.
So now the understanding is that the general understanding is that if you've committed a crime that was not anything where, okay, and you've served your term, you didn't, it was not used with gun or violence or harm to someone else, like they're mostly the drug convictions,
That's correct. Yeah.
okay, which most of the drug convictions are against Black people.
Yes.
Okay, and now, and even when I look at even the opioid situation, see, back in the day, look, Raoul, since I'm old enough to go back in the day now, that when we had an epidemic with, it could be said to be an opioid, back in the day, that most of our Black men in this community that went to prison, they went to prison for selling and using drugs.
Yes, that's correct.
And a large proportion of our Black community, say mid 70s, 80s, were disproportionately given those long sentences.
That's right.
But the one thing that, the reason I said that this was important to me is because it's become generational. The father went, the son went, and the grandson has gone.
Yes.
And it's not just for the drugs. Then when they put in that non-payment of child support, which makes me crazy, is a felony. Because as soon as you convict a 16, 17-year-old
He
of
has no.
non-payment of child support, you have immediately made them a drug dealer.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So what a cycle.
It's a terrible cycle. And it's a fact that during Darrell admit term in and Jesse Crenshaw's, the Democratic controlled House would pass it. There was one person in the state Senate who is still opposed to the bill, and he's the majority floor leader. We have got to work, and hopefully, it's no assurance now that it can pass the House.
Oh, wow. That's sad.
But on it. And it's unfortunate, but it's a reality.
Yeah. Somebody was saying, talk to me one day, and the only word I could use when you're saying, when you look at the condition our condition is in, it makes me think about Jesse. If you don't keep hope alive, it almost seems hopeless. But you've got to. The only thing that we do have is hope, and all we can do is hard work.
Yes. Now, we've been behind the 8 ball for so long.
Ooh, Lord. Yes.
And we have fought continuously. And we can't give up.
No, we can't.
The fight is on.
It's ongoing.
I don't remember what day it was. Around February the 5th. 60 years ago. Mm-hmm. Was the first arrest that the police made of us sitting in.
Okay.
1961. February the 5th, someplace around that date, 1961.
Okay.
That was 60 years ago. And the fight is still going on.
Right.
I was in the
we've been walking in place.
Yeah, I was in the youth council then.
Huh. Yeah, okay.
And 60 years later, here we are facing some of the same issues.
Right. I had asked you for your phone number earlier. Let me go up and make sure I had put it in because I want to see. I want to show.
That's it.
There's the number to the NAACP if you have any questions or you want to volunteer, or if you want to just bring something to their attention. Mr. Cunningham is at our beckoning call.
Now we're not in the office.
Right. Just leave a message, right?
Leave a message and we will return the calls.
Well, Raoul, I have enjoyed this conversation with you. And
is it over?
No, it doesn't have to be over. But I felt like we kind of touched on all the things that I wanted to touch on.
Good.
And but let me ask you this. So until the General Assembly passes that amendment, they still don't have their rights. Is that correct?
They have them. They can apply
for them.
Apply for them. And if they're to see if they're covered.
Okay. Well, you
mean
if
they're covered under the governor's executive order.
Okay.
They can vote.
Okay.
But
the bill is still
need to get the constitutional amendment passed.
Okay. Okay.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you've been taking care of yourself, though. I see you. You look swell.
Well, I had my shot.
I hear you.
I went and got my.
I'm really going to work on trying to help you. Maybe get some folks. Make you a list. Let's get some folks, and if I can see about getting some PSAs done, that maybe they can go to the TV station when they can, and have something set up where we just, as we show up, they put them together and put them out there. I think we need to do that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And thank you for being my guest. And you're a wealth of knowledge. And I love the fact that you're so entrenched with the legislative part of, the behind the scenes. See, it's that behind the scenes work that moves us through.
Yeah, and we've got to do it.
Yeah, we march on the streets, but we've also got to be behind the scenes. That's why it's really important for people that don't know. There's a word that I wrote an initiative for JCPS, Raoul. It was called a citizenship initiative because I don't think a lot of our children even understand or know what the word citizenship means. I very seldom hear it used.
I know. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? And that it entrenches so much of your life. I even have a part in there when you it started. I wanted it to go from 1 through 12,
Hmm.
and in the 12th grade, then you need to know about choosing friends and character and things of that nature, and you work yourself up to this, but along the way you learn how to become a good citizen,
Amen.
you know and I sent it to polio, but I never got a call back, so I left it alone. I still have it in my on the shelf to do,
Okay.
but
If
i'm
we
i'm,
get
I'm going to work on the PSAs though.
great, we'll look forward to working with you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on, Raul. Have a blessed weekend, sweetheart.
Have a great one.
Take care. Bye bye.
Be safe.
All right, that's Mr. Raoul Cunningham working behind the scenes for us to get things done, to stop voter suppression. What does he say? What he would stop voter suppression? Um, the student reenactment assignment. You know, if your kid's choosing what school your kid goes to, do you want them to be segregated again or not? But we need a plan. He says we don't have a plan yet. And then there's the voter suppression about the bill that he doesn't want the governor to override. There was a veto. And we talked about the ex-felons. It's sad to say Louisville has a very high population of ex-felons because we were one of those cities that was consumed with uh, being charged with felonies for use and possession of drugs. And some of it was to epidemic proportion, like opioids, but we didn't get treatment. We got incarceration. They sent us to prison for use. And now we have the opioid epidemic, and they want them to be treated. They don't want them to have a record. And all our black people had records for possession. So look at what that did to their lives. I mean, it's a whole lot. You got to clean up the past to move forward on the future. But some of those things are they're very important. You might not think about them, and some of you may not know that they happened, but they did. And we have a large population of black men still in our prisons. Um, it became to me, a generational thing. The father went to prison, his son went to prison, his son's son went to prison. Come on, give me a break. Okay, I'm through venting. But I hope you enjoyed Mr. Cunningham on our show tonight. We want to remind you again to follow us on Facebook. You must follow us on Facebook. I need numbers. You need to subscribe to Jantastic Productions on YouTube. And you can also watch Jantastic Productions, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, on Roku. If you've got a Roku stick, a Roku TV, a smart TV that has a Roku channel, all you got to do is type in Jantastic Productions. You can see every show that we do. And I'm just hoping everyone is going out to get your shot. I'm going to promote the shot. I am. I took the shot because I'd rather live longer than die sooner from COVID, if you know what I mean. So take care. Stay masked up. Still keep your distance. They're trying to get the kids in school, but still keep your distance. Our numbers are high. For Kentucky, our numbers are high. And we need to knock those numbers down. Stop, taking chances. Don't take chances. Don't take chances with other people's lives. Don't take chances with your own life. You know what I mean? So on that note, I'll say, I'll see you next week. I'll see you Monday. Only on Mondays and Fridays. So I'll see you next week on Monday, 7 p.m. Guess who's coming to dinner? Ain't no telling. Show up and find out. Take care. This is JC saying, I'll see you later.